Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting. And trust me, this one is special. We're talking about the Australian 20-cent coin from 1967, especially in very fine condition, and what its value looks like in today's market. Now at first glance, a 20-cent coin might not seem like much, but when you explore its history, its design, and the demand among collectors, you start to realize that even small coins can carry big stories and surprising value. Let's start with the history of this coin. The Australian 20-cent coin was first introduced in 1966, when Australia transitioned to decimal currency. So, the 1967 coin comes from the very early years of this new system, making it historically significant. Coins from these early years are always interesting to collectors, because they represent a major change in a country's monetary system. The 1967 issue is not the very first year, but it is still considered part of the early decimal era, which adds to its appeal. When we talk about condition, the term very fine is important. A very fine coin is one that has been circulated but still retains clear details. The design elements are visible, though slightly worn. On this coin, you can still see the platypus design quite clearly, which is one of the most iconic animal designs in Australian coinage. The edges are not sharp like an uncirculated coin, but the coin still looks attractive and well preserved for its age. This level of condition makes it accessible to collectors who want a historical piece without paying premium prices for mint condition coins. Now let's talk about the background and composition of the coin. The 1967 Australian 20-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a mix of copper and nickel. This composition gives the coin its silver-like appearance and durability. The coin weighs and has a distinctive round shape with a milled edge, which not only adds to its aesthetic, but also helps prevent counterfeiting. The reverse side features the famous platypus, designed by Stuart Devlin, while the obverse side shows Queen Elizabeth II. This combination of design and material makes the coin both beautiful and long-lasting. Moving on to collector demand, this is where things get really interesting. The 1967 20-cent coin is not extremely rare because it was minted in large numbers. However, demand still exists, especially among beginner and intermediate collectors who are building a complete set of Australian decimal coins. Coins in very fine condition are particularly popular because they strike a balance between affordability and historical value. Collectors often look for coins like this to fill gaps in their collections without spending too much money. Now let's talk about the part everyone is waiting for: the current market value. In today's market, a 1967 Australian 20-cent coin in very fine condition typically sells for around $148,000 to $175,000. In some cases, depending on the exact condition and buyer interest, it might go slightly higher, but generally, it stays within this range. While it may not sound like a huge amount, the real value lies in its collectability and the story it carries. For someone passionate about coins, even a small value like this can feel rewarding. If you're a collector or thinking about becoming one, there are a few helpful tips to keep in mind. Always check the condition carefully because even small differences can affect value. Try to store your coins properly, preferably in coin holders or albums, to protect them from damage. It's also a good idea to learn about mintages and variations, as sometimes small differences can make a big impact on value. Most importantly, enjoy the process of collecting. Coins are not just about money, they are about history, art, and connection. As we come to the conclusion, the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin in very fine condition may not make you rich overnight, but it holds a special place in the world of coin collecting. It represents an important time in Australia's history, features a unique and beautiful design, and remains accessible to collectors of all levels. Whether you already have one in your collection or you're thinking of adding it, this coin is definitely worth appreciating. Next up, today, we're diving into something truly fascinating for coin lovers and curious minds alike. We're going to explore the Australia 20-cent coin from the year 2002, especially focusing on coins in very fine condition, and uncover what they're really worth in today's market. Let's start by taking a step back in time and looking at the history of this coin. The Australian 20-cent coin was first introduced in 1966 when Australia transitioned to decimal currency. Since then, it has become a familiar and widely used coin across the country. The 2002 issue is not considered rare in terms of mintage, but that doesn't mean it has no value. In fact, its worth largely depends on its condition and collector interest. Coins described as very fine show moderate wear but still retain clear details, especially in the design. For a coin that has circulated for years, maintaining that level of detail is already a positive sign. When you examine the design, you'll notice the iconic platypus on the reverse side, a unique and beloved Australian animal. The obverse features Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Ian Rank Broadley, whose portrait was used on Australian coins during that era. This gives the coin not just monetary value, but also cultural and historical significance. Now let's talk about the background and composition of this coin. The 2002 Australian 20-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a durable alloy consisting of. This composition helps the coin resist corrosion and wear, which is why even circulated coins can still look quite attractive. The coin weighs and has a distinctive dodecagonal or shape that makes it easy to recognize. It was produced by the Royal Australian Mint, known for its high-quality coin production standards. Moving on to collector demand, this is where things get interesting. While the 2002 20-cent coin is not considered a rare date, collectors still appreciate it as part of a complete Australian decimal collection. Many collectors aim to gather coins from every year, and coins in very fine condition are especially desirable because they strike a balance between affordability and visual appeal. The demand increases slightly if the coin has particularly sharp details or fewer marks than usual. Additionally, beginner collectors often seek coins like this because they are accessible and provide a great starting point for building a collection. Now let's talk about the part everyone is most curious about: the current market value. In today's market, a 2002 Australian 20-cent coin in very fine condition typically holds a modest value. Most of these coins are worth around $130,000 to $150,000 Australian dollar, depending on their exact condition and eye appeal. While this may not sound like a huge amount, the real value lies in the journey of collecting and the potential for appreciation over time. Coins in better condition, such as extremely fine or uncirculated examples, can fetch higher prices, especially if they attract interest from dedicated collectors. For those of you who are collectors or thinking about becoming one, here are some helpful insights woven into this discussion. Always pay attention to the condition of your coins, as even small differences can affect value. Try to store your coins in a safe, dry place to prevent damage. It's also a great idea to learn how to grade coins properly, as this skill will help you identify pieces that might be more valuable than they appear. Patience is key in coin collecting, and even common coins like this one can become meaningful parts of your collection over time. As we come to the conclusion, it's important to remember that not every coin needs to be rare or expensive to be valuable. The 2002 Australian 20-cent coin in very fine condition represents a piece of everyday history, something that has passed through many hands and still carries its story today. Whether you're collecting for investment, passion, or curiosity, every coin adds something special to your journey. So next time you come across a 20-cent coin, take a closer look. You might just discover a small treasure hiding in plain sight. Next up, today we're diving into something small in size, but surprisingly interesting in value: the 1,981 Australian 20-cent coin, especially those older black-toned pieces that are still in fine condition. If you've ever come across one of these coins and wondered whether it's worth more than just 20 cents, you're in the right place. Let's take a closer look at its history, condition, composition, collector demand, and most importantly, what it could be worth today in dollars. The 20-cent coin from 1981 is part of Australia's decimal currency system, which was introduced back in 1966. By 1981, these coins were already a familiar part of everyday life, circulating widely across the country. What makes some of these coins stand out today is not just their age, but their appearance. Over time, many of these coins develop a darker, almost black tone due to oxidation and natural wear. While some might see this as damage, collectors often appreciate this aged look because it reflects authenticity and history. A coin described as being in fine condition means it has been circulated but still retains clear details. The platypus design on the reverse side is visible, and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the front still shows recognizable features. These details matter a lot when determining value. Now let's talk about the background and composition of this coin. The 1981 Australian 20-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a blend of. This composition gives the coin its durability and resistance to corrosion, although over decades, exposure to air and handling can still lead to that darker tone we mentioned earlier. The coin weighs and has a distinctive scalloped edge, which makes it easy to recognize even without looking directly at it. This unique shape is one of the reasons why Australian coins are so admired worldwide. When it comes to collector demand, coins like the 1981 Australian 20-cent piece may not be extremely rare, but they still hold interest among collectors, especially those who focus on Australian decimal currency. The demand increases if the coin has a unique appearance, such as a deep black toning or an unusually well-preserved surface. Collectors also enjoy building complete year sets, and having a 1981 coin in fine condition can be a meaningful addition. While it may not be a rare treasure, it certainly carries value as part of a historical collection. Now let's talk about the part everyone is curious about: the current market value. In general, a 1981 Australian 20-cent coin in circulated condition is worth close to its around 20 cents. However, when the coin is in fine condition and has an attractive aged look, collectors may be willing to pay a bit more. Typically, such a coin could sell for anywhere between $1,045,000 to $175,000, depending on its exact condition, toning, and appeal. If the coin is exceptionally well-pressed with minimal wear or has a very unique black patina, the value could go slightly higher, especially in the right collector market. It's important to remember that coin values can change based on demand, trends, and where you sell them, whether it's online marketplaces or local coin dealers. For those of you who are collectors or thinking about becoming one, here are some helpful tips to keep in mind. Always store your coins properly to prevent damage, ideally in protective holders or albums. Avoid cleaning old coins, even if they look dark or dirty, because cleaning can actually reduce their value. Take time to learn about grading, because the condition of a coin plays a huge role in its worth. And most importantly, collect what you enjoy. Sometimes the story behind a coin is more valuable than its price. To wrap things up, the 1981 Australian 20 cents coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but it carries history, character, and a modest collectible value. In fine condition with a natural black tone, it can be worth a few dollars today and holds a special place in the world of coin collecting. So next time you find one of these coins, take a moment to appreciate it. You might just be holding a small piece of history in your hand. Next up, today we're diving into a fascinating piece of coin history that many collectors either overlook or underestimate. We're talking about the 1968 Australian 20 cents coin in very fine condition, and more importantly, what its market value looks like today in dollars. You might already have one of these sitting quietly in your collection, or even tucked away in an old jar. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this coin deserves your attention. The 1968 Australian 20-cent coin is part of the early decimal currency series introduced after Australia transitioned from pounds to dollars in 1966. This coin was produced under the authority of the Royal Australian Mint, which had only recently begun operations at that time. Because of this, coins from the late 1960s carry a certain historical charm as they represent the early years of Australia's decimal system. The design features the iconic platypus on the reverse side, a uniquely Australian animal that symbolizes the country's natural heritage. On the obverse. Next up, today we're diving into an interesting and often overlooked coin that might already be sitting in your collection or even your pocket change. We're talking about the Australia 20 cents coin from the year 2001, specifically one that has developed a rust green tone and is still in fine condition. You might be wondering, does a coin like this actually have any value today? To begin with, the 20-cent coin of Australia has a long and fascinating history. It was first introduced in 1966 when Australia switched to decimal currency. Since then, it has remained one of the most commonly used coins in everyday transactions. The 2001 version was minted during a time when coin production was steady and consistent, handled by the Royal Australian Mint. Millions of these coins were produced, which means they are not rare by mintage alone. However, what makes your specific coin interesting is its condition and its unusual rust green appearance, which can catch the attention of collectors. Now let's talk about the condition and that unique color. Normally, Australian 20-cent coins are made from a copper-nickel alloy, which does not rust in the traditional sense like iron does. However, over time, environmental exposure, moisture, or chemical reactions can cause discoloration. This is where that greenish tone comes from. It's similar to what we see on older copper-based coins around the world. If your coin is described as being in fine condition, that means it still retains decent detail. The platypus design on the reverse side, which is a signature feature of this coin, should still be visible, though slightly worn. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side should also be recognizable, even if it has lost some sharpness. Moving on to the background and composition, the Australian 20-cent coin weighs about and has a distinctive scalloped edge, making it easy to identify even without looking closely. Its composition is giving it durability and a silvery appearance when new. Over time, though, factors like storage conditions and handling can change its surface. While some collectors prefer shiny, uncirculated coins, others find toned or naturally aged coins quite appealing, especially when the toning is even and visually interesting. Now let's consider collector demand, which plays a huge role in determining value. Because the 2001 Australian 20-cent coin is common, most collectors are not actively searching for it unless it has something special about it. This could include errors, unusual toning, or exceptionally well-preserved condition. Your rust green toned coin falls into a niche category. While it may not be rare in the traditional sense, its unique appearance could make it desirable to certain collectors who appreciate coins with character. Demand for such coins is not massive, but it does exist, especially among hobbyists who enjoy collecting toned coins. So what about the current market value? In general, a standard 2001 Australian 20-cent coin in fine condition is worth its face value, which is 20 cents. However, when you introduce unusual toning like a rust green color, the value can increase slightly depending on buyer interest. In today's market, such a coin might sell for around $40,000 to $75,000 Australian dollars, if the toning is attractive and the condition is genuinely fine. If the coin has particularly and even coloration, it might even fetch a bit more from the right collector. That said, it's important to keep expectations realistic, as this is not considered a rare or high-value coin. For collectors, there are always some helpful tips to keep in mind. First, never clean your coins, even if they look dirty or discolored. Cleaning can actually reduce their value significantly. Natural toning is often more desirable than an artificially cleaned surface. Second, store your coins in a dry and safe environment, ideally in coin holders or albums that protect them from moisture and air exposure. Third, take time to learn about what makes coins valuable, including rarity, condition, and demand. Even common coins can sometimes surprise you if they have unique features. Lastly, consider connecting with other collectors or joining online communities where you can share your finds and learn from others. As we wrap up, it's clear that the 2001 Australian 20-cent coin may not be rare, but it still holds interest, especially when it develops a distinctive rust green tone. Coins like this remind us that collecting is not just about high value, but also about history, uniqueness, and personal enjoyment. Whether your coin is worth $1 or a few dollars, it's still a small piece of Australia's currency story and a great addition to any collection. Next up, today we're going to explore something small in size but surprisingly interesting in value. The Australia 20 cents coin from 2016, especially in very fine condition. If you've ever wondered whether this everyday coin could be worth more than just 20 cents, then stay with me because this story might change the way you look at your pocket change. Let's begin with a little history. The Australian 20-cent coin has been part of everyday currency since 1966, when Australia switched to decimal currency. The 2016 version of this coin was produced by the Royal Australian Mint, which is known worldwide for its high-quality coin production. The design on the reverse side features the iconic platypus, a unique animal native to Australia, symbolizing the country's rich wildlife. On the obverse side, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, which has been a standard feature on many Commonwealth coins. Now, when we talk about condition, the term very fine is very important. A very fine coin means that the coin has been in circulation but still retains clear details. The major features like the platypus and lettering are visible, although there may be moderate wear on high points. It's not brand new, but it's far from heavily worn. For collectors, this condition is often a sweet spot because it balances affordability with decent visual quality. Talking about the background and composition, the 2016 Australian 20-cent coin is made from cupronickel, which is a mixture of. This composition gives the coin its silver-like appearance and durability. The coin weighs around and has a distinctive scalloped edge, with making it easily recognizable even without looking. This unique shape is one of the reasons why Australian coins stand out globally and are appreciated by collectors. Now let's move to collector demand. At first glance, a 2016 Australian 20-cent coin might seem very common because millions were minted. However, demand can increase depending on condition, rarity in circulation, and collector interest. Coins in very fine condition are often sought by beginner collectors who want to build a collection without spending too much money. Additionally, collectors who focus on year sets or specific designs often look for coins like this to complete their collections. When it comes to current market value, the truth is both simple and interesting. A standard 2016 Australian 20-cent coin in very fine condition typically ranges between $2,048,000 to $275,000 Australian dollar. While that may not sound like a huge increase, especially considering how common the coin is, if the coin is in better condition, such as extremely fine or uncirculated, the value can increase further. Rare mint errors or special variations can push the value even higher, sometimes significantly depending on rarity. Now let's talk about tips for collectors in a natural way. If you're collecting coins like this, always pay attention to condition first. Even a small improvement in quality can make a noticeable difference in value. It's also a good idea to store your coins properly in coin holders or albums to prevent damage over time. Keep an eye out for unusual features like errors, off-center strikes, or double designs, because these can turn an ordinary coin into something truly valuable. Patience is key in coin collecting, as values can increase gradually over time. As we come to the conclusion, the 2016 Australia 20-cent coin in very fine condition may not make you instantly rich, but it represents something more meaningful. It's a piece of everyday history, a symbol of Australian culture, and a starting point for many collectors. Sometimes the true value of a coin isn't just in dollars, but in the journey of collecting, learning, and discovering hidden gems in the most ordinary places. So next time you come across a 20-cent coin, take a closer look. You might just be holding more than you think.